on, son.
Raphael on the track.
Come on, son. Come on, son. What up, y'all? Said lover. It is Come On, Son, the podcast. Y'all know how I get down each and every week. Big shout out, of course, and rest in peace to Combat Jack, the reason why I'm even podcasting in the first place. I will always keep that man's name on the tip of my tongue. Combat Jack, one of the greatest, if not the greatest podcaster of all time. The Combat Jack Show, may his soul rest in eternal peace. This is being brought to you by cigarsinternational.com. Go to cigarsinternational.com for all your cigar needs, whether you need cigars, whether you need a cutter, whether you need a lighter, whether you need a punch, whether you need a carrying case. Go to cigarsinternational.com. They take care of me, and they will absolutely take care of you. When you check out, put in ED, the number 10, OFF, for 10% of all your purchases. 10% off for all your purchases at cigarsinternational.com, and brought to you locally by Nissan of South Morrow, 6889 Jonesboro Road. Those are my people. They take care of me. I'm driving that 2017 Platinum Pathfinder right now because of Nissan South and Morrow. Thank you, Chris White and the whole crew, Leo Span, Dwayne Nails, and everybody over there for always taking care of me, my homegirl Raquel, all of them over there. Now, today, we are going to the world of Hollywood on Come On, Son, the podcast. The man that is about to be in the studio with me and sit down and talk to me is esteemed actor and musician, Mr. Bokeem Woodbine, who grew up in Harlem, New York. You know Bokeem from Ray. You know Bokeem from Life. You know Bokeem from M. Night Shyamalan's Devil. You know Bokeem from Jason Lyrics. You know J. Keem, well, it's not lyrics, it's lyric. Jason's Lyric. And, of course, you know Bokeem from Dead President. And he also is known for his role as Mike Mulligan on the second season of Fargo, which he was nominated for a Black Reel Award and was nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award and a Critics' Choice Television Award. And he is also in this brand new show on the USA Network called Unsolved, where he's playing a detective named Darren Dupes. They call him Dupes on the show. All right. And it's all about the murders of Biggie and Tupac, and I watched it, and it is absolutely phenomenal. But we're going to touch on that just a little bit about what he learned, but I definitely want to talk to him about his music, about his acting, about being from New York City and being from Harlem, how he got in the game, how he maintains his favorite role. And there is absolutely less than 6 degrees of separation between Bokeem Woodbine and myself. So we're going to talk about all that right here on Come On, Son, the podcast with the one and only Mr. Bokeem Woodbine. Come on, son. Hey. See, y'all, as y'all can hear, we got a lot of hellos going on and a whole lot of good stuff. They're joining me in the studio right now, about to take his seat after he say what up. It's my dude, Mr. Bokeem Woodbine, is in the house with us right here on Come On, Son, the podcast. I believe that this is his mic, Krista? This your mic right here, brother.
All right. Check one, check two.
Yeah, there you go. What's up, brother?
What's cracking, bro?
How you doing, man? All the way
man.
from Harlem, USA, which always makes me laugh because you Harlem cats. I'm from Queens, right? Born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens. You born in Harlem?
No, I got there probably when I was around 8.
Okay. But what kills me about Harlem, the Harlem cats don't think they're a borough in New York City. Am I right?
Indeed.
Am I right? No, this is Harlem. This ain't Manhattan. This is Harlem.
No, it's a world unto itself, my brother.
Yeah, it absolutely is, man.
It's another planet.
Harlem is something else, man. You know what I learned about you recently, man? I didn't know you were a musician.
Yeah. I play guitar, man.
And I didn't know you fronted a rock band either.
Indeed. 13 Purple Dragons.
13 Purple. How'd you come up with 13 Purple Dragons, bro?
I mean, I leave it to individual interpretation, but to me, 13 is a transformation, purple's royalty, and I mean, you know what a dragon is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. How long you been doing that?
I've been playing guitar since I was 13.
Really?
It's the thing that kept me out of the mix. You remember what Harlem was like, or just New York in general in the 80s and early 90s and everything like that.
A lot of drug dealing going on, a lot of shootings.
Yeah. So it's what kept me cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that kept you out of the mix, just doing the music type of thing. When did you get into acting, and how did the acting part? Because I heard a story about that, but I want you to tell a story about how acting started for you.
Okay, I was an extra on this show. Well, not the show. This movie called Juice.
Okay.
I was an extra in Juice just to make money for my tattoo. I wanted to get a tattoo of Africa, and it was really on my mind, and I had my mind made up, and I was like 17 or whatever. And I didn't tell my mom what I needed the money for, but she was like, "What makes you think I have $75 to give you?"
Right.
You know what I mean? So you have to figure a way to work this out. How about you go to this audition for extras? So she opened up Backstage Magazine, which back in the day, on the last couple of pages of Backstage Magazine, you would see open calls for actors who didn't necessarily have any, how can I say, headshots or anything like that, or even experience.
Right.
But you could come in and try to, be an extra and see if you qualify. Maybe you could get your career going, whatever. So I took my mom's advice and I went there to the address that it said. Make a long story short, next thing you know, I was an extra in Juice, but because I used to have dreads, they said I kind of favored Tretch. So they asked if I would be his stand-in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I had no idea what a stand-in was, but I said, yeah, sure, as long as I get paid. And they said, well, you get paid a little more.
Right.
I said, okay, so I'll be Tretch's stand-in, whoever that is.
You didn't even know who Tretch was?
Well, OPP wasn't out yet. We talking about going back to, if I was 17, this had to be like 90, 91.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think it was 91 or something like that. So anyway, I did my due diligence. I did the gig, and then about a year and a half later, the same woman who cast me as an extra called me out of the blue and asked if I would audition for a movie called Strapped.
Okay.
And I had no idea what she was talking about. I had 2 tokens in my pocket. I was broke. I had 1 token to get there, 1 token to get back. And I said, yeah, all right, fine. And I went down there, and make a long story short, I ended up getting the gig.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You turned me off, Chris. Give me a... There you go. I'm back. So that's how it happened for you. You stood in for Tretch on Juice. Did you meet Pac?
Yeah. It was.
And you turned Bokeem off now. Hold on. Bokeem is off. His mic is off. Okay.
Check.
There you go. All right. We good now.
All right.
Okay. So you stood in for Tretch.
And Pac and Tretch was tight. So
Oh yeah, absolutely.
when he saw me in Tretch's gear, he probably thought I was Tretch. And so I just remember somebody saying, yo, Tretch. And I kept walking. And then I feel somebody pulling on me. And I was like, hey, what's up? And then it was Pac. And he just started laughing. He was like, oh, my bad. Sorry, I thought he was somebody else. I was like, yeah, whatever, man.
You had no idea who he was either.
Yeah, but years later, we laughed our heads off about that.
Yeah, because you ended up doing the I Ain't Mad at Your video, right? How did that come about?
Pac requested me, we had met before at the premiere of this picture I did called Jason's Lyric.
Okay.
And
the little picture you did called Jason's Lyric. Come on, Bokeem, bruh. That's a classic right there, brother.
Thanks, man. Thank you, brother. So we was at the premiere, and he dug the flick, and we just chopped it up a little bit, and that was it. I didn't see him for a little while after that, and then the next thing you know, my agent was calling me. My agent at the time was calling me. It was like, Tupac's representatives reached out, and I wasn't sure what it was about. You know what I mean? Because at that time, he was in the mix. So I was like, well, what could this possibly be about? And then it was like, he wants you to be in his music video, and I was like, what? Oh, this is fantastic, most definitely. So they sent the car. I went over there to meet him. The first time I saw him on the set, we didn't shoot anything. We took a series of photographs that somebody still has that film out there somewhere.
Wow.
Every once in a while, you'll see like a couple of flicks of me and Pac, like stoned, drunk, with our shirts off, like mugging for the camera, acting a fool. That came out of that session. and it was just for us to meet and hang out and kind of like, feel the vibe a little bit. And he was just so hospitable, and he really wanted to make sure that I was comfortable in the environment because, quite frankly, he had a lot of shooters around him.
Okay.
There was a lot of tough guys around him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I was there solo dolo, and I was out of my element. And he was the only person that I knew there, and only person that I was really vibing with. And everybody was on their best behavior and everything. But I mean, when you in an environment that they're how can I say they're organized, if you understand what I'm trying to say. And so I was just like, okay, I'm out of my element. But Pac wanted to make extra sure that I was comfortable and cool. So, it was just a great.
This is right in the middle of the quote-unquote East Coast, West Coast beef. Were you uncomfortable being from New York and everybody knowing that you're from New York and being there?
Yeah, because, even prior to that, I had little run-ins with people in L.A. that they were very clear about the fact that they didn't like all these New York Negroes coming into their environment and, enjoying all of the rewards of being a young man with a little bit of recognition in their environment. You know what I mean? But luckily for me, the cats that, I was cool with were so powerful and so heavy duty, and they didn't judge me as being from New York. They just judged me as Bokeem.
Right.
And Bokeem is I'm clean. I don't got no dirt on me. You know what I mean? So I was no threat, and so they got to know me as a person, and they like who I was as a person. So they just let everybody know, look, this dude right here is cool.
Right.
If you see him, just say what's up, keep it moving. And no negativity ever came my way because they gave me a pass.
That's funny. That's funny, Bokeem, because when I lived in L.A., the same thing happened to me. But first and foremost, I knew Mike Concepcion very well. So he's an OG shot caller, super OG. So I was good on the Crip side. And then I had a couple of people on the Blood side that I knew that kind of took me around and introduced me to different sets and was like, when you see Ed is money. Ed is good. Don't nobody.
Go.
So because he's fine. I don't care how you feel about whatever. This dude is all right. Just leave him alone. You know what I mean? So that's a blessing, right?
That's a super blessing.
That's a super blessing because I don't think a lot of people understand that dynamic. Tell me your favorite Tupac story.
My favorite Tupac story?
Yeah.
Oh man.
And we're a podcast, so you can be as raw as you want to be.
Man. Oh man. I got a couple, but
Don't we all?
Oh man, you gotta understand, Pac was a one of a kind individual. He was not. You don't see cats like that anymore. He was somebody who was just being himself at all times. And I had told this story before, but you know what I'm saying. I'll just tell the same story again, but it's a pretty good one, I think. I was working on a picture with him called Gridlocked.
Okay.
And it had this actress, Lucy Liu. I don't know if you're familiar with.
Of course.
Actress Lucy Liu. She was new to the game, and she was very, how can I say, excited about being in the movie. And
Jim Belushi is always also in that movie, right?
No, that was gang related.
Gang related, Jim Belushi.
This is
okay.
Right before that, it's Gridlock.
Right.
But anyway, so she was, in order to burn off little excess energy, she was practicing eskrima, which is, Filipino martial arts and involves these two sticks. Well, I mean, there's several different weapons, but two of the weapons that they deal with are these little short sticks. And anyway, so she was practicing. And Pac was trying to get at her.
Okay.
So Pac, one time I see him and her trailer just, waving the sticks around and stuff. And I said, I didn't pay no mind, right? So about a half hour later, comes by my trailer. I'm like, man, what's wrong? You look a little vexed, man. He was like, man, this girl Lucy over there, she got me waving these sticks around, man. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. I'm just trying to get them draws.
Oh my
I
God.
said, well, how did it work? But he said, it didn't. I said, don't worry, man. You know, it's all good. At least you know a little bit more about it.
Jesus Christ, man. You see what I'm talking about? That dude was always that dude 100% all the time, man. All the freaking time. Every minute. And then here we are in 2018, and Unsolved is coming out on the murders of Tupac and Biggie, and you're actually playing a detective that was part of a task force in 2006, 2007
Yes, sir.
that reinvestigated the murders of Tupac and Christopher Wallace, Biggie. And I watched it, and there is some information in there that will really blow your head off.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. I'm glad you feel that way.
And it is coming from a dude that was there, bro.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
You talking to a dude that saw Tupac, that spoke to Tupac before they walked out of the damn casino. He stopped and we had a conversation because he was with my man Stretch every damn day of his life until he went to jail, and then they kind of had a falling out and he ended up with death row. But that's a whole nother damn chapter of his life, as many chapters. And we had a conversation before he walked out, and that's the last time I saw him and the last time I had a conversation. But here you are playing Darren Dupree. What did you learn from playing that role?
I'll be honest with you, brother. I learned a couple of things that really surprised me. And one of the first things that I learned was that there were some law enforcement individuals who were sincerely, emotionally invested in solving the case.
Right.
And I know that's probably not exciting information, but that's what really blew my mind.
Actually, starting with Officer Detective Russell Poole.
Right.
Wow.
There were some cats that were on the law enforcement side of things that really, really, truly, like, were invested emotionally. Like in their heart.
Yeah.
They wanted to figure out what happened. And that really blew my mind because if you remember, and you got a good memory because you got a great memory, it almost seemed like there was a media blackout after they were assassinated. It was like they were assassinated and then you didn't hear shit. There was no follow-up investigation. I mean, there were no reports about the investigation that was being disseminated to the general public. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Like they would
it almost like we all had the feeling that the LAPD didn't care.
Right, they didn't care. Right, so I was shocked at what was going on behind the scenes that the rest of us didn't know about, and the investigation into their murders was so bizarre, man, in the sense that the coincidences, I really can't give away too much, but the coincidences that were occurring, if you were to write this as a movie, nobody would believe it.
Absolutely.
Like, this shit is impossible. There's no way this cat is going to be here at the same time that this cat is here, and then they're both linked to this third party, and boom, all this kind of stuff. It was crazy. It remains a very educational project for me to be involved with, how much I learned. And it also got a very interesting perspective on what it takes to tackle a high-profile murder when you know, the eyes of the world are on you and this, that, and the other. And also how egos come into play. Just similarly to the world of hip-hop or sports or what have you. You know, in law enforcement, there's several different branches, as we all know, but ATF might not get along with FBI, who might not get along with local PD, who might not get along with detectives and sheriff. So you got all these little things coming into play that really make for almost a Shakespearean type drama, but this is real life.
Yeah, and real people's lives are on the line.
Yeah.
And we sometimes look at the police departments of different cities and as machines, but these are human beings. Right. And I like the fact that Unsolved really explored the human side of the officers, not just Greg Kading and Russell Poole, but your character and every other character in there. There's a humanization to them, so they're not just looked upon as, well, why couldn't y'all do that? And it really explains how difficult it is, especially when nobody's talking.
Woo.
How do you solve a crime when nobody was talking?
Nobody wants to talk, and then you have to find other means to get leverage.
Right.
Which means you might have to go through somebody's refuse in order to come up with something that you can hold over their head.
Yeah.
And these are the intimate, intricate details that I think the audience is going to really, really enjoy because we respect the intelligence of our audience, and we treat them and show them respect, and we act as though everybody in the audience that's watching the show knows how to write a script, knows how to act, knows directing, knows lighting. You know what I mean? We act like our audience is almost our peers, our equals.
Yeah. It's really, really good. It's really good. It's going to be on the USA Network. It's called Unsolved. We're going to be doing a live broadcast with them.
Dope.
Yeah, with Josh Duhamel is in it. It's so good. I don't want to give away too much. All right, but when it comes out, I think it's February 27th, I believe. February 27th on the USA Network. Folks, I'm telling you, watch this show. It's called, it's well acted, it's well directed, the script is good, it is gripping. It will have you ready, when one episode goes off, it'll have you ready to see the next episode automatically. And Bokeem, you did your thing as usual, bro.
Thank you.
Bro, you killed.
You dug it?
Yeah, you killed
thanks,
it, bro.
man.
You always kill it, though, bro. You know there was 60. I was telling people in my intro before you came in. I said there's less than 6 degrees of separation for Bokeem Woodbine and I in our acting careers, and I'm going to tell you why. I did Who's the Man, directed by Ted Demme. Bokeem did Life. Who directed Life?
The late Ted Demme.
The late, great Ted Demme. Yeah, who was actually the guy who gave me life on television with Yo MTV Raps.
Wow.
That's how I got on Yo MTV Raps, because of Ted Demme.
About you all the time, G.
Yeah, that's oh my God. I loved
you, man.
I loved him too. I loved him so much, man. It really broke my heart
He was a cool cat.
when he passed away, man.
Yeah, that was fun.
How was the set of Life? You guys must have had a ball,
Let
dude.
me tell you, first of all, can I take my jacket off?
Yes, please take your jacket off, bro. Get comfortable, man.
All day, but this is the first time I'm gonna take my jacket.
Yeah, get comfortable. This is not your regular interview, man. This is your boy Ed. We just sitting back kicking it. I've known Bokeem since the early '90s, bro.
Me and Ed go back over 20 years.
Hell yeah. So tell me about Life. You got Martin Lawrence, Eddie Murphy, Bernie Mac,
Anthony Anderson,
Guy Torrey, yourself. I mean, this is a crazy cast of characters, man.
It was insane because I don't know if you remember, my character was a mute.
Yes.
So he doesn't talk, right? So every day I would go to the set. As soon as I get in my trip, I would say one word, what I want for breakfast. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I would just say what I want for breakfast. And after I make my breakfast order with the PA, I stop talking all day. I would not say one word while I was working the whole time we were shooting. You know what I mean? So these cats, you got some of the funniest people alive, right?
Yes.
They trying to get me to talk and shit, you know? So they were like, it was hard, man, because these dudes are so funny.
Yeah, you got Murphy fucking with you.
Oh
you
my
got
God.
Martin Lawrence fucking with you. You got Bernie Mac, dumbass, fucking with you. Guy Torrey is fucking with you.
I'm going to get him to talk.
This motherfucker gonna talk on this set.
You gonna talk on this
That's
set?
another
God
6 degrees of separation. Bernie and I did Who's the Man together too.
There you go.
And then Bokeem. So you didn't talk the whole
fucking time. Eddie got me finally because he did some old dirty trick shit. He was like, Bokeem, you didn't hear? I'm like, I would just gesture.
Right.
He'd be like, you rapped. Yeah, man, you rapped. You done for the day. I was like, yes, that's what I'm fucking talking about. He was like, I got you. Like,
How long was that shoot, man? How long was you on?
Forever. I was only there 5-6 weeks, but they were there for months.
Only there for 5-6 weeks is a lot of time, bro.
It was a lot of time to be quiet.
It is a lot of time to be quiet. And we all forget that Rick James is actually in Life. We forget about Rick James's part.
Did a good job in the
Yes.
he was
Rick James was in Life, man.
No doubt.
When did you hear about it? Was it something that came to you through your agent?
It was very interesting. I don't know if you're familiar with the actor Oba Babatunde.
Absolutely.
So
First of all, how could anybody that loves television, film, and movies, if you don't know who Oba Babatunde is, you need to go kill yourself. That man was in Dreamgirls.
Dig it.
Part of the original cast of Dreamgirls on Broadway. Oba Babatunde can do it all.
No question about it.
Sing, dance,
Ride
act,
a horse,
right, everything.
wound a woman,
right?
knock you out, shoot
Yeah.
a gun.
He can do everything.
Back in the days, you had to know how to do all of that.
Yes, sir.
But anyway, so they asked me to. It was Brian. Oh my God, who's Ron Howard's producing partner?
Brian Grazer.
Brian Grazer. Thank you, brother. Brian Grazer. Ted Demme. Okay. So I'm convoluting the story. Ted Demme just wanted to have a meeting. Yeah, sit down. So we had to sit down, and then he was like, "I like your energy. I want to introduce you to Brian Grazer, but you're gonna have to audition." I was like, "Shit, I don't have a problem with audition. I mean, I assumed I would have to audition." So they had me audition for Oba Babatunde's part, but
Oh,
that
wow.
was a very older guy
Who
you know what I'm
actually narrates pretty much the entire story.
Right. So
Right.
they had me actually do the narration, and I just I tried to imagine what I would feel like in my 80s, and I did the narration, and then when I kind of came back to myself, it was real quiet, and Brian Grazer was looking at me, and Ted Demme was just kind of smiling, and I wasn't sure what was happening. I was like, man, I don't know, is this good or bad? Because they weren't saying anything, so
Right.
I was like, okay. And, Ted Demme was like, Bokeem, thank you. We'll get back to you. And then Brian Grazer was like, thank you very much for all your preparation. And then I split. And I was like, man, I'm not sure how that went. And then my agent called probably about a day or two later. And he was like, so listen, Ted Demme wants you to play this part of a character called Can't Get Right. And I was like, okay, so what happened to the other thing? And he was like, you're much too young. And I was like, yeah, I knew that. I don't know why. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I was like, well, so get me the lines. He's like, there are no lines. I was like, what do you mean there's no lines? I got to prepare my stuff, man. And he was like, the character doesn't speak. I was like, fuck you mean the character doesn't speak? You know what I mean? It's like, the character doesn't speak, his names Can't Get Right. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm going to say yes. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And that's how I found out about it. So I guess Ted Demme just felt like I could do it, and he had me read Oba's part kind of to show Brian Grazer what I could do, I guess.
Right.
And so that's how it happened.
And Can't Get Right is a character that is it's a legendary character now.
Wow.
Without you even uttering a word. Because it Can't Get Right, it gave us one of the greatest parts of the whole entire movie. That's my baby boss, right? Can't Get Right couldn't talk, but he sure could fuck a white girl. Man, that was a fantastic. That was actually more of like a comedic role for you. Right. I mean, coming off of Strapped and everything else that you had done, you know what I mean?
No question about it. And those dudes, just being in that environment around those cats, man, I just tried to absorb whatever comedic timing I might have. It came from being on the set with them dudes. Yeah.
Your favorite role you've played so far?
Wow.
I'll ask you a two-parter. First, your favorite role, and then which one do people recognize you more for on the streets?
Okay. I would say, man, that's a tough one. Right now, I'll probably say my favorite role is Mike Milligan.
Okay.
On the show Fargo.
On Fargo. Yes, sir.
That's probably my favorite role right now because it allowed me to kind of do stuff that I always felt I could do, just didn't have a chance to. And right now, believe it or not, but the role I get recognized the most for is Joshua from this film, Jason's Lyric.
Get out of here.
Even 20-something years later. I mean, if you
more so than Dead Presidents.
Even more so. Like, it would probably be Joshua, then Can't Get Right, and then Cleon from Dead Presidents.
Yeah.
Like top three.
Okay, because Cleon from Dead Presidents was amazing.
Did you dig that one?
Oh my God, who didn't dig Dead President? And what actor out there that's ever been in a movie didn't wish he was in fucking Dead President, or wish he was in Life, or Jason's Lyric, or any of those things that you've done? How do you choose? How do you choose what you'll do and what you won't do?
The stuff that I haven't been that happy about, I did because I needed the bread. And
Honesty is. Oh man, I love your honesty about that. I remember having this conversation with none other than Monique, and then I think that about Soul Plane. And I was like, Soul Plane was trash, Monique. It was a horrible movie. It was trash. No, baby, Soul Plane was good. And then I think a week later, DL Hughley sits in front of me, and me and DL, I said the same thing to DL. DL, what were you doing at Soul Plane? You know what DL said? Bro, I needed the money. The mortgage was due. That's honesty. That's what I'm talking about. We all have done movies that I'm like, Bahama Hustle, shit, they was paying. I needed to get that rent paid. That mortgage was due, bro.
Hey, look, we're going to do what we have to do.
Absolutely.
And it's all legal, So, yeah, no, look, the stuff that I haven't been proud of, in hindsight, I'm proud of it now because it led to the other stuff. But once I had the opportunity to be discerning, I think, and this is only relatively recently, I'm trying to choose characters that have a different essence on the inside than what you see on the outside.
Okay.
So I like to throw people for a loop. So if a person is their exterior is very combative or this, that, and the other, I like to try to find a thing about them that isn't like that. The thing about them that might be a little bit more compassionate. If a person is perceived as weak on the outside, I like to figure out what's strong about them and then play that as an undertone. So I like to find characters that may be an archetype and something that people are real familiar with, so that I can deconstruct them internally and find out what it is about them that is contrary to their external appearance.
Once you moved from Harlem to Los Angeles in about 93, 94, 94 to pursue your acting career, did you ever take acting lessons?
No, I never did. And I just started reading a lot of books in the past, I would say 10 years, and just, I guess, being self-taught.
Okay.
And even little random bizarre exercises I would construct for myself. There's a lot of boredom when you're an actor. there is. There's a lot of boredom, and it's just a matter of how you fill up your time. So I would develop little weird games, like even if I'm just watching a commercial and I would see an actor give a line, I would say, well, how would I give that line? You know what I'm saying? And
okay.
I'll go back and give my reading of it and my rendition of it. And so I would say, just little head games I'll play with myself, and also the variety of books that I would read, the different methods. So even though I didn't sit through the class, because my thing is I tried going to class twice, and it was just, I couldn't be anonymous. It was just, everybody was kind of like, even if I sat in the back, everybody was, in my grill, and it made it,
right.
It made it uncomfortable for me to learn.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So anyway.
Yeah, so even going to acting class, it's like, okay, I'm here because I want to get better.
Right.
But y'all not letting me get better because y'all looking at me like, oh, it's Bokeem Woodbine. What the hell is he doing in here?
Right. Exactly.
Well, you probably get that when you in Walmart, bro.
Indeed, exactly. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted to, if I'm going to learn something, like, you know what I mean, I have to be in an environment where I'm just treated like everybody else. And for whatever reason, in L.A., that's not going to happen in the acting schools, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think what'll probably happen is, like, if I have to do a very specific dialect, or if I have to play somebody who's very, very famous one day, if that ever happens, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a coach privately.
Okay. Yeah. Who would you want to play?
Bob Marley. What else would I like to
Complex character. You picked a complex man.
You know what I mean?
Bob was a complex man.
Exactly. I would like to play him.
Ever see one person drive the economy of an entire country before?
See what I'm saying?
All these years later?
Carry an entire nation on his shoulders.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a heavy gig. There was a cat named Toussaint Louverture.
Okay.
Who was a revolutionary long time ago in Haiti. Pretty much started the revolution that ousted the colonizers from Haiti.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would be a great character. And there was also, bad cat named Yanga. He was a prince from Gabon, and a lot of people don't know. Many years ago, centuries ago, some of the first slaves that were taken to Mexico.
Oh, really?
A lot of people don't know that. So anyway, this cat, they captured him. They took him across the ocean with a bunch of other captives. And what ends up happening is when the ship lands to port in Mexico, they pull down the rampart, and as soon as they did that and he saw daylight, you know what I'm saying, whatever, he grabbed the nearest guard's knife, slit his throat, and took off running. And all the other slaves that were on this is one of the reasons they started shackling slaves' feet.
Okay.
All the other slaves that were on the boat, they ran with him. And somehow, he's in a foreign land. It'd be like if, you and I jumped off a spaceship in Mars or some shit. So somehow this cat found this place where there were a lot of indigenous folks, Indians, that were living there and hiding from the Spanish government, because the Spaniards at that time were just merciless in how they persecuted the indigenous peoples there. So he ended up hooking up with them, and they made peace and had a peaceful coexistence. And every once in a while, they would do raids on the Spaniards, get supplies and arms and food and shit that they need, and they disappear. Anyway, about 30 years after he'd been doing this, there was a young upstart Spanish soldier who was like, "What is everybody in the village talking about? Younger this, younger that." And so he took it upon himself to try to take it to Younger, but Younger took it to him, and whooped that ass. And then, to the point where the King of Spain was forced to sign a treaty of peace, which gave Africans their first free lands in Mexico.
Oh, wow.
It's a true story. It's like Braveheart.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's that. I would love to play him, or at least be involved with making that movie happen. So it's probably the three people I would love to play if I had the opportunity.
What role did you turn down that you wish you'd never turned down? Or is there one?
Yeah, but it's like kind of like can't really get into the politics of it, but let's just say it's a picture that's relatively well known. But the only reason I was mad that I didn't do it is because they had offered me kind of like a 3-picture deal.
Okay.
To do it, and I had heat on me from Jason's Lyric and some other stuff, and the studio was like, "Look, we'll give you this role, but we picked the other two," and I was like 20, 21 years old, and it just didn't set well with me. I couldn't imagine them picking the role for me. You know what I mean? And so the cat that went on to do the role, was a good dude, had a great successful career, still doing his thing. Has been on shows that have been syndicated, this, that, and the other. He just took off. And there was a lot of times when I was in the crib broke, trying to figure out what the next job was, when I was like, damn, maybe I should have taken that part. You know what I mean? But I can't even really tell you what it is, so that probably takes the fun out of it. But, just an example.
How do you deal with the downtime? What do you do in your downtime? Is it the band that keeps you going?
For me, like, I'm in a great place right now career-wise, so if I have some downtime, I'm not mad. Okay. But in the past, I would say it's training with Shifu Xianming, the monk in New York. So training with him, I have a great support system with some of, my elders, my older brothers, like the RZA, Wesley Snipes. Right. You know what I'm saying?
There's another 6 degrees of separation. Wesley and I did Undisputed together.
There you go.
Me, Wesley, and Ving. Right. Small world.
All right. That's what it is. So, they're always there to lend an ear. So that was always helpful through the hard times. And, I got a great woman. So that was very helpful. And remains very helpful. And also, I think believing in myself and trying to be athletic in some type of capacity, you know what I'm saying? You got to do your push-ups, you got to do your sit-ups, just to get the blood going. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to just sit there in a funk, particularly when, I have no plan B. So when times were hard, it was, for lack of a better word, it was scary. It was like, there's nothing for me to fall back on. If this doesn't work, I'm completely assed out. There's no magic wand that's gonna make everything okay. Like,
Yeah.
it would be a horrible situation for me not to succeed. But I would always do my push-ups, always lift my weights. I would always do something physical to kind of snap me out of that negative vibration.
Right, and snap you out of the funk and just sitting around.
Exactly.
That's really good advice, man, for a lot of people. Just get physical. Go run or walk or jog and get your blood flowing to get your mind back right.
I think so.
Because them downtimes, people don't realize that in this business that we are in, there are downtimes. And those are tough.
Woo.
Those are very hard. If you sit there and you start figuring out, well, maybe I shouldn't have did this. And you know what I mean?
Start
Maybe this is what, you start second-guessing the crap out of yourself.
Punished for that.
Well, maybe I should have went to school, and maybe I need to let this go. But this is the only thing that gives you that feeling. This is the only thing that makes you happy.
Right.
And I'd rather be happy.
Yeah, it's so important. That's another thing I learned. It's interesting you say that, is the happiness, it's not just about the money you make. It's just about also loving what you do, because I've run into all different types of people from all different types of classes in the class system, and I've run into a lot of people a lot of hedge fund dudes, a lot of tech dudes who are wealthy, but they just unfulfilled and they're not happy. Which, coming from Harlem, that's fascinating to me. I'd be like, how do you make this much money? How are you not? You should be ecstatic.
Right. Exactly.
But they're not really doing what they want to do. They're doing what they're good at.
Right.
But it's not what they really would like to be doing.
Right. And
I'm lucky I get to do what I like to do.
That's right. And it's funny because dudes from those walks of life, and they always want to rub shoulders with the creative.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, they can be the smartest person in the room. They can be the biggest CEO, and they can be running this company, and this company has done this, that, and the third, and they always want to rub shoulders with the people that they look at, more creative people are having more freedom.
So crazy, because I know cats that work that angle. And, and I didn't catch on at first, but they were like, yo, come to this party with me. It's some kind of after tech party seminar type shit or something, and I would just get swarmed by these tech people and shit. I'm like, damn. And then after a while, I was like, wait a second, man, you trying to get funding for a project? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I don't work angles. Like I'm very straightforward, which is probably why it took me as long as it's taken me to actually get to where I'm at, and hopefully where I'm going is I don't do the little sneaky freaky, I'm just straight up, this is what I can bring to the table, and that's it. But
you don't seem to be the type, Bokeem, and I've known you for well over 20 years, but you're not good at the Hollywood schmooze shit, are you?
I'm horrible at this.
And you don't like bullshit.
I'm the worst at it, man.
Oh, my God. My manager and and executive producer, they get so mad at me sometimes. Because they be like, you need to go here. It's a good look. I'm like, fuck that look. I don't like it. I'm not that, I can't. I'm like, now, I'm even like 2018. I don't even want to have a meeting. Right. Like, I want to get the meeting on the freaking thing. Like, call me when we really, because I get my hopes up high about doing something with somebody, and then the shit fall through.
You know what? Guys like us, we don't want to show a little leg, is what it is.
That's true.
And what you supposed to do when you go in schmooze, you're supposed to, like a chick back in the day, show a little leg, you know what I'm saying, and get them to thinking that maybe, you know what I'm saying, they might get some shit.
Yeah, maybe we could do something together. I'm no good at it. I'm straightforward. Yeah, I'm like you, bro. I'm just straightforward. I'm not gonna play that bullshit, and then especially in L.A. Oh my God,
shit.
The bullshit is knee deep. But I remember one time when I heard Spike Lee said there's not a black person in L.A. that can greenlight a picture. Mm-mm. After that, I stopped talking to motherfuckers. Like, I ain't want to have a meeting with you for. You still got to go to your boss to get this project done.
That's a good point.
So I might as well just introduce myself to your boss.
Indeed.
Fuck, I need to talk to you for. You waste your time driving and having lunches and all this. Oh, man.
You know what it is, bro? It's like back in the day when they would have dudes that was like, they wasn't a master, But the master would say, you know, you keep these niggas in line.
Right.
You know, these guys.
The overseer.
The overseer. The Hollywood overseer.
The Hollywood overseer.
Trying to hustle up some new slaves and shit. And, you know, when you let them know, look, I'm not a slave, you know, and then they be, oh, well, you're not going to get anywhere. And they be like, hey, maybe not, but at least I'm not no slave.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I'm not a slave. And I'm quite sure that you get these too. Yo, man, I got this project. I want you, and then you be like, okay, where's the financing?
Right.
That's where you come in.
That's why I was talking, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna introduce you to my man so and so. You know what I'm saying? You just show a little leg. I mean, just show up, and then you know.
Right. You're in charge of getting the financing for his project.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And another waste of time.
Yeah. I can't do it, man. And I'm blessed to where I'm in a position where I can politely say, listen, you know, when you're all ready to make a pay or play offer to me, you know, call my agent. You know
right.
what I mean? So, yeah, man, I've been jumping in cars and driving all the way out to Roscoe's and shit and sitting there talking to somebody that don't even have the fucking power to influence to make shit happen.
Absolutely.
And then they try to sit you with half the bill and shit.
Yes, sir. Or the whole bill.
Right.
Or the entire bill. Oh, that goes. So you know, right now we're here. We doing this podcast. Come on, son, the podcast with Bokeem Woodbine. We're in Atlanta, Georgia.
Indeed.
This is Black Hollywood.
Oh yeah. Or
as they call it, Hollywood. Duh. Because I'm serious. L.A. now, I believe, if I'm not, if I may have to be stood corrected, but there's more pictures and television done here now.
Yeah, man.
Than actually in Los Angeles now.
I believe that's a truism.
Because of the tax breaks that they give and all that stuff. First, it was they left LA, went up to Toronto. Because when I was doing Psych, when I did Psych a couple of times, we shot up there. Actually not Toronto, the other one.
Vancouver?
Vancouver. Mm-hmm. So we're all the way up in Vancouver. And then they were shooting in Toronto and Vancouver, and Canada was the look then. Yep. And then Atlanta got smart and was like, let's start giving some tax incentives. Sure. And everybody started. Tyler Perry got a studio here, and Marvel does a lot of their movies here.
When I was doing Spider-Man, I was here for 3 months.
Yes. Yeah. Did you enjoy that when you were a villain, right?
Yeah, I was one of the classic. If you're into the Spider-Man lore, if you're hip to the Spider-Verse, you know what I'm saying?
The Spider-Verse, the Marvel, you know what I'm saying? Marvel universe.
You know what I'm saying? You would recognize the Shocker as one of those classic.
That's right.
Spider-Man villains. They decided to bring him to the big screen. I was thrilled, man. I was so thrilled.
That's big budget, bro.
I remain thrilled because it's like, you know, we gonna see the Shocker again.
Yes, sir.
So it's just like, I got a little bobblehead Shocker, a Lego Shocker.
Do you?
I got action figures, man.
That's dope.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
You the Shocker, and on the other side of that, Mackey's the Falcon, right?
Yeah.
How ill is that? I've been fucking with Mackey for a long time. Mackey's the Falcon, dude.
Shit is ill. It's crazy. We got
Black Panther coming out.
Yo, it's crazy.
Black Panther did more pre-sale tickets than any other movie in Marvel history.
It's crazy.
Chadwick, go ahead, bro.
Get ready.
Chadwick went from freaking Jackie Robinson to James Brown to the Black Panther. That is
Thurgood Marshall.
And Thurgood Marshall, yeah. Whenever somebody black got to be portrayed, we got to go get Chadwick portrayed. Yo, Chadwick is dope, though. I can't wait to sit across from him and talk to him about his career, though. But you were in Ray.
Yeah, brother. I was in Ray, man. 2003, New Orleans. Never forget it.
Great film.
Oh man, great experience. Just an incredible.
Well, you're a guitar player, and you were playing. What, you were playing baritone sax?
I was playing the tenor, but I
did you have to learn the fingering and?
Yeah, I learned how to play note for note. Every song that I played in the movie, because I played sax before I got turned on to guitar.
Okay.
I learned how to play the sax when I was like 12.
So you actually was playing sax in the movie?
Yeah.
Go ahead, my brother.
Yeah, we would work on set for like 12 hours, and then I would go back to my hotel room, and I would put a towel in the horn to mute the horn.
Right.
So the neighbors didn't complain.
You know they do have saxophone mutes, right? You should have told somebody on set to get you one.
Well, bro, I was...
All you had to do was ask for one,
I know.
Bro.
I probably should have, but back then I would make certain things harder for myself than they had to be. So then I would practice the notations for the music for the next day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know you actually played sax in that movie.
Yeah,
I know Jamie played a lot of piano because I've been around Jamie a long time, and he actually can play the piano.
Jamie can get down. He plays for real. I think it's one of the reasons he got the gig. And he was just a great cat. His energy, man, on set, he was like a team leader and shit, because we got a lot of disparate elements on the set of Ray. There's a lot of different energy, a lot of different types of personalities. And we all got along. Everybody, is loved to this day. But he really was the leader. You know what I'm saying? And he did a fantastic job of keeping everybody's energy up. Because there was some long ass days and them clothes they used to wear back in them days, man. Jesus Christ, man, them shits was hot. Man. Yo, I was like,
a lot of wool, huh?
Oh my God,
a lot of thick wool.
Yo. I was like, cats would just walk around like this?
With hard bottoms on all day.
Oh, shit. Yo, man. And Taylor.
Them shirts are not the same. It ain't the same kind of shirt we wear today.
This shit is heavy. It's like chainmail or some shit. It's like armor or some shit. And I was like, yo, this is how cats used to walk around. Like, and you look clean, you look sharp, but when you're on stage, what he would do sometimes with Taylor is he would take all the air conditioning out of the room, or the not an air conditioner, but a big old tube of air, coming through this long tube, and he would take it all out, and then we would start rolling, and then we would shoot, and it's like 100 of us in a little sweat box. Yo, it's like damn near pass out heat, and then it'd say cut, and everybody's like, "Oh shit!" And then they would bring in the air,
right,
and then to cool us off and everything like that.
Because you can't have the air running while you're shooting because you can hear it.
Not only that, he said, because I asked him about that, I was like, "So why don't what's going on with the suffocation, man?" He said, "I want the audience to feel the humidity."
Jesus.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, I think they're gonna feel it.
Yeah, man.
So.
Oh my God. You had it. Does it make you proud if you're in a film and you're a significant part of a film like Ray, and you watch Jamie win an Academy Award for it?
Yeah, because you were there with the person that went through the struggle, and you know how hard they pushed themselves to get it, and it was to me it remains a source of pride. I definitely think I know he deserved it, and I'm proud that he carried the team. Like I said, he was the team leader, and it's always like a pleasant feeling whenever somebody brings up Ray or if it comes on TV or something like that.
Right.
So many great memories associated with making that picture.
Is it tough? Is it tough carrying a movie? Because I know I was in Dre and I did Who's the Man, and we damn near every scene, and I'm like, come on. I was like, I will never want to just be the focal point of a movie again.
There's a joke that actors say. It's like when you find out you got the lead, you're like, I got the lead, and then right after that, you're like, oh shit, I got the lead.
It's a lot of work.
Yo, it's easier to be the assassin, man, to be the mercenary. Like me, I'm a mercenary, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You give me the lay of the land, I sharpen my tools, whatever. I go in and I do what I gotta do, and then I bounce, you know what I'm saying? That having been said, there's something to be said for having those lead roles in your repertoire, I guess you would say, you know what I'm saying? Having those lead roles in your stash, because what it does is it just gives you different type of muscles. Like this gig that I just did just now, Unsolved, was very, very challenging for a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons that made it so challenging is the procedural element. Like, meaning like shows like Law and Order, CSI, what have you, those are considered procedurals, where you're dealing with the very specific minutia of detail, and you have to convey to the audience certain aspects of the job that they might not be aware of, like Grey's Anatomy or something like that. Most people aren't doctors. Most people aren't cops. So you have to be able to give that information to the audience in a professional way, this, that, and the other. But there's such an abundance of info and so many details and so many scenes required to convey the story So I would have episodes where I would have more scenes in one episode than I did, say, in Fargo the whole season.
Right.
Because in Fargo I had probably, I was only maybe in 2 or 3 scenes per episode. So let's say it's 25 scenes. We would do episodes on Unsolved where I would have like 34.
Wow.
34 scenes out of 52.
Wow.
So almost every other scene I'm in. And that volume, preparing all of that material for 10 episodes, you know what I'm saying, where every single episode you got 30, or let's say an average of 30 scenes, that shit blew my mind. Towards the end, there were a few times where I realized sometimes you're going to come to set and you're going to have to take your inspiration from your other actors, and you're going to have to trust your director, and you got to always know your lines no matter what, but you're not going to be putting in 6 hours on one scene the same way you did in the beginning of the season, because there's just not that time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there just comes times where you be like, look, I know my lines, but I'm still kind of feeling my way around the scene. And you would find other actors be like, well, shit, I've been doing that the whole time. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I know my lines, but I'm feeling my way around the whole scene. And me, I'm a preparation freak. Like, I'm obsessed about preparing. Because early in my career, there was a few times when I didn't prepare, and I feel like I have to live with that because the movies is out there, people can see them, this, that, and the other. So after I made those mistakes, I went in the other direction, and I became obsessed with preparing. But what this taught me is that if you have a great director like Anthony Hemingway, you know your lines, your heart's in the right place, and you're open to suggestion, you can get through the scene and you can still deliver a good scene. And that's what it taught me. So I don't know if I would do a procedural again, just for the simple fact that it's so much work that goes into something that's so specific. Like if you're a fireman or a policeman or a doctor or a lawyer, those 4 professions have very specific vernacular code, ways you got to be, this, that, and the other, and it's a little bit restrictive. It's rewarding. Any challenges that you step up to is rewarding, but it's like, I don't know. I don't know if I would do another one.
Well, I'll tell you that. You killed that one, man. And it is coming out on February 27th.
All right.
Unsolved on the USA Network. Always a pleasure, my brother.
Always a pleasure.
From Harlem, New York, Mr. Bokeem Woodbine in the building with me. Come on, son, the podcast. Y'all keep God first. Everything else will fall into place. We'll talk at you, with you, to you, and about that ass. Next Monday, be good. If you can't be good, be careful. You can't be careful, name your baby Bokeem, all right? Good, solid name, right? What does Bokeem mean?
Hey, my dad said it came to him in a dream.
You're the only dude I ever met from Harlem named Bokeem. Believe that. All right. Thank you, Krista Hayes. Thank you, Kimana Paulus. And thank you to everybody for listening to the podcast, man. It's Come On, Son, the podcast. I'm Ed Lover. Now, come on, son. Fuck out of here with that bullshit. Later. Right. This Ed Lover podcast is being done in conjunction with Cigars International. Make sure you check out cigarsinternational.com for all your cigar needs.
This episode of Come On, Son, the podcast is produced and engineered by co-executive producers Kimana Paulus and Krista Hayes. Recorded at Mean Street Studios in downtown Atlanta, Georgia, this is an official Loudspeakers Network podcast.